Hi, my name is Kendra King and I work in substance abuse. My position title is case manager, and a lot of what I do is one, I cook really great food, but in addition to that, I also teach some life skills to our residential clients. So we go through topics like budgeting and nutrition, job interviewing skills, and ideally I try for cooking. That can be very difficult, and in fact that's where this video series comes from. I was talking to one of my coworkers the other day about how hard it is to try and teach the residents basic cooking skills when there's like 15 of them and one of me, and we have like 30 minutes, and it doesn't quite work, and that it had given me the idea to do a video series. And she has encouraged me to do it because she also knows that there are a lot of IOP clients or former clients that can also benefit from this information. The way Tia explained it is she said that I can explain things very simply and they're a lot easier to follow. So we're going to find out if that's true. Excuse me. The first video that I'm doing today, and that's nice timing, isn't it? The first video that I'm going to do today talks about budgeting, and it's just going to talk about the basics of it. So whenever I do these videos, my goal is to really simplify it. Like, I want to approach this topic for anybody. I don't want to assume that anybody has a background, so like just be prepared for that. When I go through this, I want to make sure that I'm hitting on the very basic parts. In this case, it's going to include the definition of what a budget is. So what is a budget? Budget is a noun, an estimate of income and expenditures for a set period of time. So pretty much what that means is we have an income and we have expenses. Now we need to make a plan. A budget is a plan on how we think that money is going to be spent to meet those expenses. There are several things to note with a budget. One, the idea of budgeting in general can be overwhelming. And budgets can feel overwhelming. I've done this, not my whole life, but I've got 4 or 5 years under my belt now of doing this pretty consistently. And there are still months, this one is one of them, where I avoid my budget a bit because it's overwhelming. I'm looking at it, I know I've overspent here, or for me, I had some significant home repairs, and it's very difficult to recover your budget from those things sometimes. So, Yes, a budget can feel very overwhelming, and it is a very normal sensation to have that happen. A problem that occurs with that, though, is if something feels overwhelming, we tend to avoid it. We avoid it because we're nervous, we don't feel like we can do it. It can create feelings of shame, guilt, if you're overspending in places and you don't know how to get that back in check. It's funny, there's this thing that says your budget doesn't judge you, but you judge you. You judge you for how you spend. So, a budget feels overwhelming because we're stuck looking at our spending habits, or we're stuck looking at a financial situation that we're not really sure how to get out of. The irony of all of that, though, is that the exact way that we get out of it, and the exact way that we learn better spending habits, is to have a budget. A budget's kind of like a mirror. It's not judging you. It's a tool to help you see where progress can be made, or where progress has been made. That's what's awesome about a budget, is you get a few months into it and you're like, holy crap, I have $75 there, or, depends, sometimes a couple $100. You're like, I didn't even know I could save that, and here I am doing that. So yes, budgets can bring up some intense emotions. We don't know how to do it. We feel overwhelmed. We don't think ends are going to meet. There are all kinds of reasons to shy away from the idea of budgeting. And ironically, most of those reasons are cured by having a budget. This includes people that say that they don't have enough money to budget. There's no such thing. My 7-year-old, I make him budget a little bit. His allowance is budgeted because, well, hello, you need to know what you're going to spend on your toys this week, and ideally you should save some, because I know he wanted that bigger thing down the road. So put some money away, spend some of it now. That is a basic budget. Excuse me. When it comes to feeling like we don't have enough money for one, that also doesn't work, because we still have expenses and we still have an income. And even if we're receiving food stamps and things, those are also things that we can use in our budget. And I will show you how to do that. Not in this video, but pretty soon. Let's see. Some of the other things come up. We kind of address why you need a budget. I don't have enough money. Yep, we addressed that too. Shame and avoidance. I guess some other interesting facts, some things that like make you feel pretty comfortable with the idea. So oftentimes, again, we think that if we had more money, that we would be better off and we'd be able to budget better. So a really weird and kind of shocking statistic is that 70% of lottery winners end up filing bankruptcy. Because, yep, that money helped for a minute, except that they still didn't have an adequate plan to manage it, and they went through it too fast and then couldn't sustain the lifestyle anymore, and there it goes. Another statistic is that 78% of us live paycheck to paycheck. 78% of us, if we do not get our check this Friday, are going to be pretty stressed from a financial standpoint and possibly not able to make a lot of our bills. So the reason I share that statistic is because 4 in 5 of us are that 78% for the most part. So welcome, you're in good company here. We all kind of struggle with that. So, yeah.